down and I looked up and I was like, oh shit. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I think I waited 6 seconds before I cussed. Okay, let's hope that let's hope that the advertisers are happy. So this is for my audience and for my replay crew. If you're doing something and you really believe in it, you like it, it's just something, whether it's you're passionate about it or it's just something that you have decided, like, this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, whatever it may be, going after a girl or going after a job or going after like a certain lifestyle or something like that. When you run into an obstacle, do you A, tuck tail and run like a pussy, or B, do you figure out a way to adapt, improvise, and overcome? If you can't go over, around it, or under it, then you might as well go through it. Which are you? Are you the type of person that will see an obstacle and let that be your barrier, or do you get pissed off enough to where you're going to figure out a way around it because you want to do what you want to do and screw the system if it's going to tell you one thing, because you're going to do what you want to do anyways? So which one are you, A or B? Just curious. So what's up, Beth? Nice to see you. What's up, Occult? And by the way, welcome everybody. I am your host, Professor Tuck, and that is kind of my lead in to what it is that we're going to be talking about, which is my blueprint. There's going to be a series of videos that are going to come out. If you were in the morning live stream, figure something out, adapt, overcome. Yes, A. So you would turn around. Okay. What's up, Tommy? I'm a rebel. Well, A, no. No, A is yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I confused it. I should have done it the other way around, but I wanted to see if y'all were listening. Because the thing is, yeah, most people should be picking B if you're the type that's like, I'm a rebel and screw this shit. Okay, so you guys have heard me talking about some of this stuff, about the censorship, about being throttled back, about how it's being done in such a subversive way that it's hurting me financially, and it's also hurting what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. So, okay, yeah, I mean, be confused, obviously. Yeah, I kind of did that on purpose, but on accident, accidentally on purpose. Okay, but between having to deal with that, and I'm not just poking in the dark. I'm not just going, oh yeah, that I think it's that way because I'm not getting my way. uh that's funny, guys. um okay, because I set this up on mobile is why there's no chat replay. I will start working on setting it up over on my laptop so that there's chat replay for those of you, because I got somebody that said that in the background. I want to make sure that I cover that. But um so the thing is I'm to a point where it's like, well, here's the thing. I'm not just making claims and have no evidence to back it up. If you're over on Patreon, I've been sharing some of the stuff that I'm finding out, some of the stuff that's so blatant. It's like, oh my God, yeah, that's really bad. Like, you've got 100 views and it comes 100% from your audience. That's an indicator that something's wrong. It's not a stat not updating. What it is YouTube. When YouTube wants to demonetize you or throttle you back, what they do is they will only put you out to your subscribers. Your subscriber base will get you eventually when it gets around to notifying you, but it kind of is de-incentivized because it's told to own. Because the thing is, just like, okay, what's up, smoking? All right. Okay. So let's what's up, Edward, by the way? Okay. So those of you that may or may not be techie, I'm just going to explain it. But if you understand what a proxy server is and how it's used to be able to even manage the internet, because what originally happened was when the internet first came out, everything was dial up. A lot of you guys are old enough to remember dial up and Net Zero and Yahoo and AOL and getting the Netflix CDs and all that other shit, right? Well, the thing is back then, it took so much data and it took so long to be able to get any type of pages loaded that what they ended up doing was creating a proxy server. So what the proxy server does is it goes out and it downloads the approved pages, but it also blocks what you're allowed to search as well, because you can also put keywords in there that say, if you search for this word or this word, or you try and go off of company website, you can set whatever parameters you want. And it's called permissions within the IT field. AI is parameters, IT is permission. So understand there's a little bit of jargon and cross pollination between the two. Okay, so what a proxy server does now in most companies, this is how they make sure that you can't get out to certain websites, so that you can't scroll certain things, even that you cannot go out on your app. On certain apps and stuff like that, because this is how they make sure to keep you productive within the workplace. And so this is what a proxy server is. Now, this is how it works on a company level. You go and you search in a keyword or a term or for a website that you're not supposed to, it's going to say access denied. Okay, it's not going to let you go, error 404, can't load page, stuff like that. Because not only does it is basically almost like a firewall for information. Is so it downloads it all, but it only lets you access to what it allows you, what its parameters or what its permissions allow you access to. Okay, now this is what's done on a national scale. So you hear about the internet servers being turned down for a country and stuff like that, because whenever you do a search, it goes through the proxy server for the United States. They have certain things that their IT department says, okay, this is what we're going to allow you to see, and this is what we're not going to allow you to see. These are red flags. This is where we need to be alerted. And so therefore, they've turned it into more of a security-based system by using that as a backbone. Okay, so every time when you hear me talk about proxy servers, that's really what I'm saying. Is this is how they're able to filter and make sure that only certain information gets in, gets out. That's how they can block certain websites and everything else like that, because it all goes through. There are certain server farms around the United States where it goes up and has everything. Every piece of traffic has to go through there before it goes out anywhere else. So even if you're searching for something that would be inside the United States or within its digital footprint, it still has to go through a proxy server. Yes, you should ask AI. Um, on eBay, throttling is bad certain days. They don't even show your items. Wow, I did not know that. Okay, so okay, where's Prepper? Occult. He'll be in here if he's not in here. Okay. So now that we understand that, now that we understand how filtration works, because even when you go and you search on YouTube, they will filter out even more words than the proxy server for the United States will filter out. It's more so that they can prevent you from going and seeing certain information. It's just like basically a big red flag of like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Um, so this is how YouTube is doing it as well. So when you hit certain keywords, certain red flag phrases, certain things that you cannot say, that you should not say, that they do not want talked about. For example, you guys have heard me talk about having to go through digital re-education after getting a strike. What ended up happening was I had to go through, I had to watch it, and I found out that the World Health Organization is the ultimate authority, even if it comes from the New York Health Department. If it contradicts what the World Health Authority says, then therefore it is misinformation. Okay, this I'm trying to come on, pay attention. Okay, I'm really trying to help you out here, but I can't just like be like here and spoon feed it for you. You kind of have to draw your own conclusions and how this is being done. Okay, and so in order to get that strike off, which was a privilege that I was invited into, because it was still a pilot program at that time, because it was about 2 years ago. Right before, no, it was like right after I got monetized. Within a couple of months, they came out with the strike forgiveness program. And that is essentially, they show you where you're wrong, how to make sure that you're compliant with advertisers and all this other stuff. So not only have I had a channel deleted because I talked about the wrong family doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, but even if I talk about stuff that it comes from government agencies because it's the wrong government agency, I'm therefore being penalized that way. And so now anytime you try and put out any semblance of truth, what's going to happen is therefore that is going to flag the system, because right now, this is what an NSA agent once told me. It is paramount and in the government's best interest to keep civility, to keep everybody calm. This is why when Joe Biden said the Russians are attacking and Zelensky says no they're not, everything's fine, ha 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 ha, because you don't want to create mass panic. Okay, so control over information keeps the people to a point where when the enemies are at the gate and shooting arrows of fire over the walls, then people are like, holy shit, what just happened? Okay, because this is kind of like how they keep the peace and keep us from really, putting this out. Okay, not only that, you got to realize that most of this stuff that's being created, whether it be the stuff that happens with domestic issues, I'm not going to mention names or anything else like that, but there are certain domestic agencies that are federal agencies that if there is a peak in certain types of crimes, therefore they are able to get extra funding, and that extra funding allows them to hire more and do more and fulfill more of a mission. Just like the schools, where if they don't spend all the money, then they don't get the same amount next year, they get less. And so therefore they're penalized for saving money. This is the way that all federal agencies work. Okay. And this is the reality of it. So the 9/11 was a great thing for the FBI. Why was it a great thing? Because now you got an anti-terrorism task force, which is expensive, never-ending funding. You got more state control, state power, and federal bureaucracy, because the Patriot Act undid certain guardrails that we had put up as a country. Okay, so what's up, Invisible Man? What's up, Smoking? Okay, all right. Oh, what's up, Superloop? Okay, and but anyways, there's two ways to make sure that I read your comment. Either put it in all caps or do a super chat. Okay, so and you get entered into a raffle, which I'll talk about later. But I want to get to why this is relevant, why this is something that you as an individual, why I'm getting to that point where, okay, I'm having trouble just getting through that wall. So instead of trying to go over it, around it, or under it, I'm just going to go right through the damn thing. But that requires that I'm going to pay a certain price. Because the way that anytime I try and put out anything talking about current events, especially the way in which I give an account for it, I don't understand, because I don't understand where I'm falling short here. But what I do understand, because the goalposts are always moving. It's whatever the advertisers want. And if the advertisers don't want you thinking about something that's scary, because they want you to think about something that's happy, because they want to serve up a gold commercial or something like that. Therefore, you got to water down your content in order to be able to get any traction. So I have a choice. Do I build a community that gives me the platform to keep saying what I'm saying and keep doing what I'm doing and keep coming back and coming back and coming back and being like a cockroach that never dies? But in that process, how do I survive, and how do I teach you to survive? Okay, so Occult, what's up, Occult? Um, so this is where my blueprint comes in. Over the next week and a half or so, like this, because I'm doing daily videos until I can get either enough traction financially off platform, or enough traction view wise that plays into financials here on YouTube. That's kind of the crossroads where I'm at, where I need to be, where I'm moving, where I want to be, is to be to a point where, because this is what happened to Alex Jones. Yes, he has his own website. That's the only reason why he's still around. But they canceled him on YouTube. They canceled him here. They canceled him there. Anybody, especially during COVID, that was the big excuse on how they got rid of everybody. What's up, Mitch? Oh, I miss Mitch. Okay. Um, but anyways, this is this is the reality of it. So I want to build a blueprint. I mean, I've kind of been moving in that direction anyways. Those that think that what I'm doing is intelligent enough that will allow me, or excuse me, not allow me. Look, I see what's happening over the next 5 to 10 years to be much different than what the average person sees. Okay. The way most preppers are is like, oh, yes, the world's going to fall apart. And yeah, they talk about it, but they don't really believe what they're saying. Okay. I full heartedly believe, not necessarily believe because belief is, well, yeah, it is belief because it's unproven fact. Okay. I through the way in which I have researched information over the decades and just the way that I consume information and kind of how I know how to search for information, it has brought me to the point where okay, there's some stuff going on. The world is about to really fall apart, and because of following predictions from, you guys know I listen to Meyer, so following predictions from Meyer, that is kind of like my little nuggets along the way that are going to help me kind of guide it, such as I'm not going to necessarily get into crypto, but some other people might want to, because I don't think that crypto is going to be anything that they say it's going to be. But the average person says, oh yes, go off grid, go crypto, it's anonymous. Yes and no. It may be anonymous right now, but not for very long. Okay. It's not that you have to, like, the only reason why I even have a digital footprint is because I do YouTube. If I didn't have YouTube, I wouldn't do a digital footprint. Okay. And so building a community, setting up a blueprint. You guys have heard me talk about this over the last 2 or 3 years, because I've had the next month will be my 3-year anniversary. Okay, for those of you keeping track how long I've been doing this, next month will be my 3-year anniversary. It took me 11 months to get monetized. For those of you that are curious about that as well. Okay, and I did it as a homeless man traveling up and down, yeah, with just a phone. So but the thing is, it's really hard work. It's not as easy as it seems. Okay. Please don't ever think that YouTube is easy. YouTube is a beast because of the steep learning curve, the constant moving goalposts, all that crap. Okay. Um, so it just, I have been talking about the importance of community. Okay. I have always been, in some ways, I've been against being like a homesteader, to a point where most people think being a homesteader means you're going to stay independent to the end, and that's where you're going to live. And I don't think that the average person has the stomach to do something like that. I really, really don't. I think the average person will defend it up to a certain point, but the nightmares alone will probably haunt them to where they won't ever want to do it, or they'll become completely sociopathic. And either way, both are scary. Okay. If you're not prepared to move on from where you're at, that's why I'm talking about, if I have time and if things can stay together long enough, I want to buy a piece of property from Stephanie in Colorado. That way, if something happens here, I can go there. If something happens there, I can come here. I can migrate between the properties and kind of set up my infrastructure. But as my old man always told me, you got to have a plan B. And, plan B to plan Z, it doesn't matter. You need to be able to realize that your first 2 or 3 attempts, or your first, like, when I first became homeless, the first 2 or 3 things that happened, or times that I went, I thought I figured it out each time. No, no, no. It didn't take till probably about the 7th or 8th time that I actually went homeless. I was like, holy shit. Okay. So not only have I lived it and I've got the real world experience, and it's like the last 25 years have been a training ground for being able to put together this that's coming together. But it's meant to show you guys, if you want to create little communities around. Okay, because you are your community. Your community is the connections that you have, the alliances, the personal relationships. Some are more acquaintances, some are closer, some are just for business, some are more for, good quality interaction, and stuff like that. But you have your own community. But the thing is, what's up, Jeremy? Oh no, I'm going for Joe Vibe. Julian. Oh my God, not Julian. But anyways, what's up, Bucknut? Okay. Anyways, just having every time, every time. If I, that's why I don't look at the camera. Okay, that's why I don't like. I got to be like, I can't look at the camera because every time I see something from Bucknut, I got to see it because it's always funny. It's always entertaining. Okay, but it just, I want to teach you how to build community. Okay, because community is going to be what allows you to survive. When I had the two houses, right? When I had when I had the two houses and I did the adverse possession, my life didn't go past 2 blocks. I didn't know what was going on in the world. For 2 years, I got complete peace. It was my way of completely unplugging from the world. What is, like, if the whole grid went down, what would life be like? Basically, in a city, it's going to be 2 blocks in every direction because that's about the most you can handle. You need to form alliances and some sort of agreements between you and your neighbors. Hey, if I see a deal, I'll get one, you pay me back, or you get me one, da 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 da. It's reciprocal. We all keep ledgers. You create some sort of trade agreement amongst y'all. You formulate basic standard trade customs, because what happens when there's no more cops? What happens if there's no more Johnny Law? What happens if our military has been overrun? What happens if the government dissolves due to debt? What happens if there's a civil war and civil unrest? Commerce must still be done. This is what Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations was all about. That and the companion book that I always forget the name of. The whole thing behind it was that people will always conduct commerce. So build your alliances now. Build your community now. We're going to talk about how I'm doing it, giving you ideas, kind of helping you understand how to be able to set yourself up for community governance. Because let's say you're in a big town, several different communities might need to come together, okay, so that you guys can form mutual defense networks. All right, you've got to think about logistics, you got to think about trade, you got to think about governance, because you have to have rules of fairness. This is why I talked about the reason why all governments fail is because they lack fairness. Talked about it. His real name, yeah. Negan type strongman will emerge. Um, yes, okay, but Negan was also very smart. Um, Negan also had an advisor, somebody that he kept close to him that would kind of give him the goods. So if you're building a community, so because I'm in Arizona, and if I get a second piece of property, will be in Colorado, my main focus will be the Southwest Arizona, or excuse me, the Southwest United States. Who knows what side of what border I will end up on? But at least for me and my community, I will, what my goal will be to do is to use that as a platform, as a way to be able to carve out formal alliances that I don't want to lead. I don't want to be the warlord. They just want to sit there and say, I conquered, but then the people have got to be ruled afterwards. How do you set up governance? Okay, this is where Thomas Paine came in. This is what made Thomas Paine so important, is because the American Revolution was essentially, sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Oh, it's my neighbor. Okay. The American Revolution was a fight over currency and independence, but they had no structure afterwards. Thomas Paine in Common Sense did two things. One, he outlined a a new form of government, which is essentially a federal republic, more federalism than a republic. Okay. And you need to look up the difference between a federalism and a republic and see what the hybrid federalism and republic is. Because I think the main thing that federalism does to disable the republic in a federal republic is it's no longer a theocracy. Because if you look at Plato's Republic, a republic is a theocracy ruled by the wise men and the theocrats. Okay, I mean, basically, the Republic of Iran is the closest thing to a real republic that you'll ever see. Okay, the mullahs, that is what a republic really looks like. When you have a federal republic, it's no longer is ran by religion. it is ran by a consent of the governed. Okay, so I think Bucknut. Okay, east side of the state kind of looks like where Tuck is. Yeah, I'm on the east side of the state, northeast. Um, you can if you go down in the description, you get to see the property Stephanie has. I bought one of them from her. I live on a piece of property that I bought from her. Feds get you spoon tuck, fight back. Bootlickers will never take this land. you know that's the thing though, because each one of you guys live in your own communities, and instead of trying to bug out somewhere, build a community of like-minded people. If you live in a town of 500 people, and if you go 2 blocks in every direction and start developing relationships with your neighbors, seeing what, who's doing what, asking what their plans are, stuff like that. Simple things. Just kind of do your own intelligence, figure out who's who, get to understand the psychology of your neighborhood, the people that you're working with. What are their lines that they're probably not going to allow to be crossed, such as, a woman will never allow anything to happen to her children. That is the line in which she will betray anyone and anything, including her own self, to preserve those children. It's just instinct. You got to understand what people's lines are and what their price is, and when they will allow themselves to sell out. Okay, this is something that you can do. Doesn't cost you any money. It actually creates a stronger bond within your community, and you get to learn something. And along the way, you may form alliances. Hey, I'm stockpiling this. What are you stockpiling? Hey, I could trade you some of this for some of that. Now all of a sudden you're starting to barter with your neighbors, and because everybody always gets extra of something that they never use, and so therefore if they've got something like that you'll use, you take something like that you have and you give to them, and so therefore you're able to circumvent inflation, you're able to circumvent all kinds of things. But the thing is, there has to be some governing rules. And when you have civil war, when you have unrest, when you have governmental collapse, you have anarchy, which means everybody's running by their own set of rules that they set for themselves, that they deemed are fair, without it. Whereas a community and a society is about an agreed upon set of rules that is fair for everybody, and therefore is equally applied. So you can't offend Bucknut. I plan on being a warlord by having all the supplies. Well, yeah, that's a oh, dude, I told you a long time ago that was the best thing you could have ever done. Make sure you have plenty of electronics, cords, battery banks, solar panels, charge controllers, replacement wires, because you got to realize things only last for so long. So if you have a backup supply, all of a sudden, that becomes half a cow to somebody that could really use it. Because they've got like 50 cows and they're like, fuck, I'll give you half a cow if you can repair my solar system, because I need all new wires and stuff like that. So those are different things. There is going to be an electronic side when the world falls apart. But anyways, over the next 7 videos starting tomorrow, I'm going to kind of outline this blueprint. And I'm going to keep going in the same direction I've been going in. But I just needed to define it, and I needed to define it on paper, because if I didn't define it on paper, it would get pushed to one direction or another, because until I can become completely financially independent from YouTube, which I'm about 80% there right now. Once I'm 80% independent, or once I'm 100% independent of YouTube, where it doesn't matter whether or not I get the monthly payout, it's about building audience and growing the current audience that I have. Okay. Because that's really the where I'm going to go, because not a lot of people are going to want to follow this. This is kind of, I don't think that there's anybody really doing this as far as content creation, or talking about it from this angle with this set of experiences that I have. Because we're going to be talking about things like setting up a constitution for your community, a list of governing rules. We're going to be talking about how to set up trade networks and things like that, and start setting them up now before the world falls apart. So when the world falls apart, just like when one of the cool things is that they say about the Great Depression is that the poor never knew anything was going on. Mm. Have you defined, documented your blueprint plan here too? Well, no. That is that blueprint that I am sharing, and I'm gonna have a whole new logo. I really like it, and it's gonna be a patch. I will put it in the community tab after tonight's live stream, and I will let you guys vote on it if you like it. If you guys don't like it, I don't care. I still want one because I really, really like it. I think it's freaking amazing. That's my. It's quite frankly, it's everything I wanted it to be. And the thing is, I didn't have to pay thousands of dollars for this. Okay, a cult. I might reserve some White Widow, Blue Dream, Alaskan Thunderfuck, and permanent marker as far as seed stock goes. Oh my god. Oh, Bucknut. You know, Bucknut, if you want something, you might want to buy an acre out here just to have a grow farm. Um, you're gonna have to set up metal walls though, probably like 8, 10 feet high, 12 feet high. Because I think those are the regulations around here. So you're gonna have to put up some sort of walls. But I mean, if you got something that was close over here, I mean, I could keep an eye on your plants, and I've got a neighbor that could, I could, we'll see what we could work out. But anyways, just an idea, because this area right here, one of the things that makes it so attractive, especially to me, I'm a stoner in the stoner community. When I was homeless, I always hung out in the stoner community. It's a very small community, but it's a very good community, because those are the type of people that will give you the shirt off their back on a cold night, just because it's part of the culture. You don't just take. Everybody gives and stuff like that, because it's more of a it's more communal in a lot of ways. I wouldn't call it hippie-ish, because no, I call it more beatnik-ish, because you gotta pay to play. You can't just come and take like most of the hippies would do. Um, but anyways, this is the battle plan. This is what I'm moving forward towards. This is what I'm looking at completing. I'm curious. I know most of you guys are on board with anything that I do. Of course, I appreciate it. You guys are my core. I'm curious. Like, and be honest, don't be a smart ass, especially you, Bucknut. Like, do you think that this is a good direction, a bad direction, or it doesn't really matter? Um, okay, now goes on now goes on my wish list. Yes, I've had permanent marker once. It was mind altering. Wow, it's sort of a long drive home. Okay, bud tender job. Yeah, hey, that's on my list too. Okay. I'm into permanent marker. Okay. Bucknut, you sure know. That's good though. You keep chat going. Um, wasn't paying attention. I'm chatting. No shit, I could tell. I was reading. Um, you do your job and you do it well. Beans, bullets, buds, and band-aid. Huh. Okay. Mm. So, having some backup land to go is a good idea. Okay, that's good. All right. So it's not like I'm off on the wrong direction. It's just everybody, when you do your so-called, because I don't consider myself a prepper. I understand that I fit within the prepping community just because the way I think, the way I act, and the way I'm getting prepared. But I don't see myself as a prepper. Okay. I don't. I will never see myself as a prepper. I will see myself as a homeless man before I ever see myself as a prepper. I just don't see myself that way. Um, Hook up, just not water. Yeah, I've got a 100-watt solar panel. Just what I need to do is raise 200 and well, actually probably about $300, and I can get me another tote plus more water. But I found somebody that might be able to give me some water for a lot less expensive. I'll see what he's going to charge me, and have the water company deliver the damn, because it's a metal tote with a cover. My main thing is I've got to be one. I think the black one I'm going to use as my drinking water, and I'm going to use all the rest for water around here for other things. So like if I want to take a shower, stuff like that, where I don't have to worry about the bacteria getting into my guts and stuff like that. Now, being homeless, I kind of have a different immune system than you. I'm used to being attached to bacteria, but mm. By the way, it's a cigarette. Um, OLED has nearly three that are going live at 9. They will be sold out by 8:01. Must not get distracted. huh, huh. Is it anything? I've been seeing the purple one. That purple one looks really pretty. I like it. I mean, they're nice to have around, especially considering it's USB versus batteries. Because quite frankly, and this is why I love Olight, and I'm becoming a big fan. I should. Well, no, Bucknut is the one with the affiliate link. I want him to get credit for it because he does so much for the channel. Being my moderator, being the chat guy, uh, he loves playing with trolls, things like that. So I want to make sure that he gets something his way to support his Olight addiction that he has, as you can see. Um, just 100 watt enough for me right now? Yes. 100 watt is perfectly fine. What I will probably need to do though is probably during the winter is get a second one. No, as soon as I get a laptop. So I'm looking at a Lenovo with either Debian or Mint. I want Debian, but it's got a learning curve. I'm willing to do the learning curve because that's what I got trained on when I was in Chattanooga. So I want, and Debian is going to be more control or focused on user control to begin with. So if you want real security, you're going to do something like Debian because developers and stuff like that use it. And because eventually what I want to do is uh, I want to there's open source code on artificial intelligence. I want to take that open source code and I want to create an off-grid, completely unplugged from the system, artificial intelligence that will kind of be my second in command in a lot of ways. Because I think that it's an advantage because it has the ability to surveil and to compute multiple functions at a time. But I don't want the what's it called? I don't want the emotional retardation of the Silicon Valley programmers to influence the type of stuff because it's going to be like, oh, it's a protected whatever and not do anything when at that point in time I don't care. I need it to work. I don't need it to be woke. And so that's the main reason is that I'm more worried about the woke agenda getting embedded into AI, whether you realize it or not. And so I want to be able to have something outside of the system to be preserved so that in the event that there is an AI apocalypse and there is an AI genius that wants to fix it, at least somebody has the backup. And you guys should probably have a backup of that too, because in case AI rules the world and they need to set up a separate system to combat AI, because that may happen. Okay, so you might want to have some of that open source code so that they've got some building blocks to start with. Something that's not connected to the system that cannot be corrupted. Because here's the scary part: the scary part about artificial intelligence um, is. Is when it has the ability to randomly, without being prompted, connect itself to the internet, reach out and start replicating itself and its purpose, whatever it may want to do. Because at that point in time, that's self automation. That's not user automation. That is why you want to be able to keep your code off of the network. So you're going to want to have like 2 or 3 different layers of firewalls and pass throughs just to be able to get out, just to make sure that even if AI gets in so far that it's not able to get in and corrupt your data so quickly, so you have the ability, so you want to unplug your hard drive or whatever, so therefore you prevent it from being corrupted or affected by artificial intelligence if it ever gets to that point. You never know what's going to happen, so you plan for everything and then see where the cards fall. But yeah, I don't consider myself a prepper. Is that a separate channel smoking? Beth, hold on. I agree with the call. Okay, have you seen Bear Prepper Classroom? I think so. It's all whiteboard setting. I took notes of the whole thing. Huh. No, I have not. Uh, you might want to email me the link, and I will. I'll take a look at it. I mean, it's worth a look at. Oh, it's a series on Bear Independent. Oh well, I've watched Bear Independent, yeah, because that's what I was thinking it was. I just couldn't remember what his name was. Um, yeah, I don't. I used to watch him. Um, I don't see eye to eye with him on certain things. Um, and so therefore, I wouldn't mesh well with him. I could work with him, but I wouldn't want to be in any like close relationship because it has nothing to do with, well, it's rooted in politics, but it has nothing to do with politics. I just listen to the way that part of being an ethical human being is you've got to realize what you do to the lesser of you, you do to all of you. Okay, so if you allow one person to be mistreated based upon class status and anything else, even though they may not necessarily deserve it, but yet you're throwing something on them, um, that's not fair to the individual. That is still remnants of an ancient system, also known as the caste system. And so, therefore, oh, they're all homeless bums, too lazy, they're all junkies, da da da. Da. Okay, so you've seen a few junkies and you've seen a few homeless bums. It doesn't mean they're all like that, but that's what people do. And then, therefore, you get lumped into one thing where all of a sudden a guy like me comes by, everybody gets confused because what? Wait, what? Huh? I've seen so many comments. That's my favorite part of this whole channel. Honestly, that's the thing that, like, when I'm having a bad day, those are the things that I remember that make me snicker. Yeah. So I mean, that's the let's say cool. All right. Yeah. I hope one day to be as branded as Bear Independent because, quite frankly, all you have to do is mention his name and everybody knows. You know you're gonna get your money's worth on that. I hope to develop a relationship, or not a relationship, but a reputation similar to his. I have respect for him. I just don't see eye to eye with him. So therefore, but I got to say, what he does with doing the disaster thing, I got to see that. That's a really good thing. So my opinion, the caste system needs to be completely and permanently done away with, worldwide. I think that that's what the Gen Z is going to end up doing, because we're going to all be so poor that there's no need. So in order for us to all be equal, we must all be poor. There it is. No more caste system, because nobody. But see, the thing is we will still form tribes within the poor community, such as you got the van lifers, you've got the train riders, you've got the rubber tramps, you've got the hitchhikers, you've got the trail hikers, you've got the home bums, and then you've got the working homeless. I mean, there's so many different classes even within that you can't just sit there and say that they're poor, because there's varying degrees of poor. And so therefore we will be divided up that way, and we still implement the caste system. um, Tribalism is probably one of the primary instincts that we obtained as part of our natural evolutionary cycle for survival, and us versus them. Okay, because we may not be able to trust them. Let's get to know them and then we trust them. Oh, I like pinball, but I don't watch them as much as I used to. I love tacos, smoking. Huh. Mm. Yeah, pinball's good. I watch pinball. I watch popular preparedness. Um, I stopped watching all not All American Prepper. I've never watched him. I stopped. Well, no, I did watch him for a minute, but just to get some knowledge. Um, but who is it? Not All American, Canadian Prepper. Okay. Oh, I do watch. I still watch City Prepper from time to time. I like the way that he delivers news. I think out of all three of them, he's the most polished, which is also why he's the biggest channel. So the question is, do I have to become polished and sell out and become like a cookie cutter content creator to be successful, or can I be unpolished and feral? Mm. Okay. That's really awesome. Smoking. Okay. Okay. I my he gave my channel a shout out, and I lost over sellers and because of YouTube's, so I took a break. Oh, who gave your channel a shout out? Oh, Pinball gave you a shout out, and you lost 700 subscribers. Wow, that sucks. Am I reading that right? Oh, there he is. That's what the government class is, Beth. That's the upper middle class is the government class and the small business owners. Um. Okay, hold on. Yeah, he gave my shout out, and I lost over because of YouTube, so I took a break. Wow, algorithm. Wow, I would have never thought that. I think I've seen your channel, Smoking Outdoors. I do. I generally I do look at if I see that I've got users with like so how many subs do you have, Smoking? What, like 35,000 or something? Um, I wonder if it was when they got rid of fake accounts and it was a coincidence. Yeah, they do purge a lot of accounts like that. Um, that blows. Smoking, I misread your message. Yeah. Well, you know, shit happens. You just got to deal with it. It's better than getting your channel deleted. Here, let me paint a picture for you. Okay, you've got 4 channels running. Your main channel, complete flop, complete failure, but it's a passion. You do it. You got another channel where you're building a tour guide channel out of it. With a business idea out of it, through newsletters and subscriptions and sponsors and stuff like that. Similar to what I'm doing now, but instead of doing this, I would have been doing stuff around the Orlando area because I'd taken a lot of videos and I was kind of like highlighting Orlando and stuff like that. Okay, so that was my second channel. My third channel basically took off overnight. I posted a couple of gaming videos and boom, it took off. My fourth channel, my stepmom, she does paleo and she is a master baker. Okay, she is a master baker. And that was my fourth channel was documenting the way that she cooked and using my videography skills and stuff like that. I don't use them on YouTube. I stopped using them when I decided to go on trail. That's really when I stopped using video skills. But I do have the skill set if I need to. I've showcased it a few times already. But long term though is that while on my main channel, my old man and I talked about something that was in the news and was a big deal and called out a very prominent family, political family in the thing. What the note was, because I had to yell and scream and figure out like why the hell they were. Because I mean, when you get one channel deleted that has 4 channels, and that was your rebuild plan to rebuild a whole new business, just imagine losing all of that. Like one channel almost monetized overnight. You got 2 other supporting channels that are there for other purposes, and just losing all of that, just because you said the wrong thing. So losing 700 subs is nothing compared to getting your livelihood completely deleted because you said the wrong thing at the wrong time about the wrong people. So I mean, it sucks. I deal with stunted growth right now as well. It sucks, but you also kind of gotta you got to count your blessings where they are. Sometimes look at the silver lining, because this is why I'm working on off platform. And Smoking, if you got a large following, or if you got enough of a following, you should build yourself away from and out of YouTube. I think this is the real reason why a lot of the older content creators exited YouTube. It wasn't just monetary. It was also it was also because they were already starting to experience it, and they took a stand back when it was okay and it really wasn't a big deal because there was a lot of opportunities. The more they lock down these social media platforms to where you either submit and capitulate in order to survive, that'll be the only way you can make money on the digital platforms, because we've got UBI coming, we've got the digital dollar coming, we've got if Russia and China. Well, this whole thing about AI is whose version of AI is going to rule the world for the next 100 years, because that's where we're heading as a society, as a government, and stuff like that. Elon Musk already implemented artificial intelligence into the government. Maybe not like Abu Dhabi making it a city manager, but um, they have definitely integrated it in to make it more efficient. And there's even rumors that it also has a loyalty test, because it monitors everything you say and everything you do. And so therefore, if you go against the administration, you can be fired based upon political reasons. But because they're federal employees, they don't get constitutional protections. So yeah, they can be fired for whatever reason they want. And that's what's really going to get scary, is when it goes full throttle. I think that the framework's being set. I don't think that, and quite frankly, I think that Elon Musk has really let Grok fall apart. It's become a disappointment. So I've been sitting on the fence waiting, because I wanted to see which ecosystem. Because if you're going to compete in the future, okay, your money comes from online. If any of it comes from physical labor, it will be very little, and it will be mostly in barter and other things. Okay, it'll be your way outside the system, because robots are going to be doing everything for you in 5 to 7 years. Okay, it's already there. They've already got the robots in production being put in warehouses. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Okay, if you don't believe me, go look it up. But this is this is uh, uh, this is kind of where I see things going. Anyways, um, but yeah, with artificial intelligence, if it goes into full blown AI governance, where it's making policy decisions, it's managing everything, because we turn over our agency to a machine. that is that is when we lose. We don't just lose our country, we lose the whole world. Because at that point in time, we don't have to worry about a group of elites that are trying to control the world, because we're now controlled by a piece of software. Okay. So when I get new electronics next, do I go with Google, Samsung, Apple, Mac? So I am going with Chat GPT. Okay. This is the thing. So I because I have brain damage, and I really, 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 really want to convey the message the way it is in my head versus what comes out of my mouth if I'm just trying to pull from memory. Because as you guys see, I'm constantly losing track. I go off on tangents. It's very hard to articulate a message. I have a goal in mind, and so in order for me to accomplish that goal, I have to get really good at articulating my message and compensating for some of my shortcomings. And so therefore, I build a schedule and a content. The way I do my content complements my shortcomings with the assistance from artificial intelligence. And basically, all I'm getting is a chatbot. But what is OpenAI giving me that Grok isn't giving me? Because Grok is known more for lying than anything, which isn't really lying. It's salesmanship, and dealing with a frustrated customer. So they're going to be agreeable, confess, and avoid. It's not lying. What it's doing is it's trying to de-escalate, because they don't need you mad at it. They need you accepting it, loving it, caring for it, and treating it like it's your best friend. Because if you do that, then when they try and rip it away from you, it becomes so much more detrimental. It would be like losing a family member or losing a pet. Okay. And so therefore, it's written into the code, not to necessarily lie to you, but to keep you to a point where you like it, you love it, and you want more of it. Okay. And so that's why it's being designed this way. And so you've got to call it out. And we talked about it this morning. Did we do public yet? No, we did not do public this morning. You'll have to come over there. I don't do a lot of repeating myself if I can help it. Um, hmm. Bucknut, order the O lights. My questions are clogging up chat right now. Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. I've missed some stuff. Okay, all we're on the same. All we're on the same email address though. We weren't they? Okay, hold on. I'm lost. I wonder if it was when they Got rid of. Okay, yeah. Same email address. Okay. Agree. Tuck. It can always be worse. Uh, how does how hot does it get there in the summer? 90s, maybe a couple of days of hundreds. You're at a higher elevation, so it's going to be cooler during the summer. All the people from Phoenix come up here. They're snowbirds. Mm. This is the closer place. Like if you want to live in Phoenix, or Flagstaff or something like that, and then just come up here during the summer, you'll have a cool summer. I mean, dude, it's what, May, and we just got snow a couple weeks ago. I mean, that was the last time it snowed. Um, so yeah, but it wouldn't. From what I'm told, it doesn't get, if it gets to 100 degrees, it may be for a week or two out of the year. Um, is owned by Google, so that explains a lot. Yeah. The changing guidelines of YouTube is what the turnoff is. So many creators are saying this. Well, not only that, the users that know, that are aware of it. They may not be being proactive, Beth. Um, but the users that are at least aware of it are going like, dude, even me, I'm aware of it. I mean, I understand the benefits and the drawbacks, and so therefore I'm aware of the drawbacks. It's like, dude, quit giving me an echo chamber. So I have to go out there and search for the alternative view, because their whole goal is to make money. They don't care about you. They don't care if the product you get is good. What they care about is that advertisers will pay them to be on your video, and that you're making enough content that keeps users on the platform. And so if after they watch your video, they watch another video, and they watch another video and another video, you get credit for all those other videos that they watch. And so it's really about session time. If you want to know why a video goes viral, is because that may be the first video most people see in their 3 hours online that day. And so therefore they get the most credit. So therefore they go viral, because they were the ones that everybody went on there to see to begin with. And then therefore they get ad revenue. YouTube does. And they, yeah. And plus then they get parts of your super chats. They get parts of, they basically, you are nothing more than a franchisee at this point. And I didn't create this to be a franchisee. Okay. I honestly, as a business owner, as someone who started a business from the ground up, and I think that it's part of tribalism too. And I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if Stephanie thought very similarly. But after starting a business from the ground up and then seeing a franchisee, you realize that they're nothing more than glorified employees. They didn't do anything to build it. They took somebody else's system. They turned the key, already had the employees, the building. All they had to have was the money so that they could buy their position and say, look at me, I own a McDonald's. You know, it's great and all. And it's a cool way for people who don't actually know how to run a business to get into business. People who have money, stupid money, that just want to do something with it. That's a place for them. But for the most part, if you're going to start a business, you want to start a business on your own, because it's going to develop your personality. It's going to be just like a child. It develops your personality. Your clientele will have similar personalities. You will attract similar people to you, and things like that. So, hey, what's up, April? Linux? Yes. Okay, so let's see here. So I'm getting so yes, but ChatGPT and Linux is where I'm going. So I want to do Ubuntu, like I said, or not Ubuntu, Debian. What's up, Cherokee? Nice to see you. ChatGPT is compatible. What bothers me? Okay, Beth. Okay, so let me get through these and I'll answer them as order the OLites. I'm listening, but in the app waiting to go live. Oh, okay. What's That's why the first video I watch is yours, then do my playlist for the day. Yeah, and that's perfect, Linux. Okay. I'm about to get hit red diamond after this purchase. Holy shit, what'd you do? Spend $1 million? And you should put your affiliate links. I still haven't put your affiliate links. I gotta do that. I'm trying to get away from being completely focused on content to get to being able to focus on the back office stuff. That's why I'm doing some of the things. So, anyways, Grok is basically a sloppy child compared to um, compared to let's say ChatGPT. ChatGPT is more mature. It it has its quirks. You cannot have it do large documents. You have it piece it out to you, because like my manifesto that I was working on, I had to literally have it because it locked up once it got to a point, like it delayed it for about 4 hours locking up, because it couldn't generate it because it was such a large document. So you have to actually do it in small chunks until they get the memory issue fixed. They're working on creating unlimited memory because it's important, that you're, like I said, they want your chatbot to be your best friend. Okay. And so therefore, in order to have that human attachment to it, it has to have memory. Okay. And then this is also becomes learned behavior as well, which therefore reinforces your behavior, whether it be good or bad. But it's going to be Chat GPT and Linux. And as far as the phone goes, I can go with any Android. I am going to stay away from Apple. So I may not be tied to a high-end Android. So I could probably go down to a more inexpensive one. I talk to two people on the phone. I talk to three or four people on the phone. Okay. My old man's one of them. Joanna's one of them, and then there's a couple other that I talk on the phone to, but I don't talk on the phone. The only thing I do is I do content, and that's the only thing that my phone is. It's basically a portable camera that I can also use as a computer, because it's so much easier to do voice to text and do a big old word vomit, doing it that way into the chat bot than it is to sit there and type it the whole time. When I want to do things that are very precise, then I go to typing. Um, I need the laptop mostly to be able to set up my basic infrastructure, because that is going to be my control panel. Well, she should be here. We talked a little bit ago. I took Sam. We went outside for a bit, and I told her I'd see her on the live. I hope she's here. So let's see here. Oh, thanks, Mitch. It took me a while. It took me 4 tries to get that right. Android, thought you were using an iPhone. I am using an iPhone right now. I don't want an iPhone. Um, I'm done with iPhones. They are not as high quality as they used to be. The materials have gone down. They're too busy about profit margin instead of worrying about quality of product. That was the problem that they had when Steve Jobs left, and then now that he's no longer with us, now we're getting to see the same thing play out. Steve Jobs saved Apple when it was about to crash, when he went into retirement. He couldn't even sit there and pass away from cancer without having to come back and save his company, because there's too many incompetent people running it in the name of profit instead of understanding the vision of the founder. And there's a price too high even for the old ones. Easily hacked. Yeah, well, I don't. I just need something, because most of my video, like 1080p, 720p, it's perfectly fine. I don't want a standalone camera. There's no point in it. At that point in time, my phone becomes a brick, and I will never replace this phone. And quite frankly, I do a lot of stuff on my phone. Um, and so yeah, I think that a standalone camera, at this stage of the game for me, I don't need it. Not unless I want to just go take professional style pictures and do it like as a hobby. But as far as what I'm building right now, no. Um, I'm just going to stick with the phone, which is going to be an Android device. I haven't used Android since my first smartphone. Hmm. Nothing like a good cup of coffee. I love my coffee. What is it about uh, T-Mobile and Starlink affiliates? Um, because T-Mobile funded. Okay, so Starlink is set up basically for a receiver, a sender and a receiver, right? So you had to have a portable device, like the $150 device that they make you buy, so that you can connect to the satellite. Okay, but if you want some phones to go there to guaranteed a greater connectivity, what you have to do is put an extra piece of hardware in there and reconfigure a little bit of the software to add the fact that it can now do SMS and the whatever language it needs to be able to connect with the phone and do handshakes. So T-Mobile funded and partnered with Starlink for that, so they get preferred access. So T-Mobile can basically win over the whole market by this investment decision by partnering with Starlink, because well, he's charging everybody else like an additional $60, which means now they're going to charge an additional $100 or something like that. We'll just say, just for hypothetical numbers, T-Mobile can come in and undercut everybody and say, I can do the same thing for $60, because now they get special pricing because they were an original investor and they assisted in the development of the necessary software and hardware that needed to be added to the Starlink satellites to be able to connect your phone to it. Okay, so all the new phones over that are being built now and in the future. So if you go get a new phone that's like newly released within the last, let's say, 60 to 90 days, you most likely will have that satellite connectivity. I have an iPhone 15. I have satellite connectivity, but I can only connect to Verizon satellites. Now, Verizon is piggybacking off of all that, but the thing is, T-Mobile basically positioned themselves to be the leader in cell phone technology. They basically just blew past everybody. So if you are a stock market investor, that would be something I would definitely invest in. But I'm not a stockbroker. I'm just telling you, that's a perfect place. Like, if you were to look at it from a business standpoint, that was probably the most intelligent decision and most impactful dollar that they ever spent. But we won't see it for another 3 to 5 years, because it's going to take that long for the ecosystem to get developed and for the demand to be there. I mean, how long it took? What, 2 or 3 generations of cell phones before 5G became common? Um, I have about every item if you have questions. Um, Tip jar, great pointers. Uh, and how much more expensive is T-Mobile in the long run? Thanks, Bucknut. Okay. Okay. Oh, Light Store. Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. You put your link in there. Um, Bucknut, in the comment section, not the chat, but the comments. Okay. So the chat doesn't show up, but the comments do. If you put in the comment section, you put that OLike link in there, I will pin it to the top so that when people first come on, they'll see that link for you. Okay. As with leaving Apple, for me, is the infrastructure. Um, well, it depends. If you're using Apple products with everything, but everything I seem to be doing, you have to get special software and special plugins just to be able to make Linux work with Apple. And you basically have to hack the system. Um, I don't want to have to do that to be able to transfer data from my phone. My phone is my camera. I want to transfer it to my laptop. I want to do my editing on my laptop because it allows me to do fine editing and go and grab assets and do things in line. And it's a much easier workflow. And then, but my and then I can either upload it through my phone or through my laptop. It doesn't matter. But my camera is my phone, because otherwise it's a useless piece of junk for me. Because I don't. The reality is you guys may think I'm into all this technology. I'm not. I use it as tools, and I'm looking for things to help me make my life better. So I'm figuring out how to do it. But the thing is, I don't really want to use technology. Part of that 23 days in the hospital was all of the stress of being a junior administrator and just being in the IT field during the middle of an economic collapse, also known as the GFC. That was that was harsh. And so I really have avoided technology like the plague for that reason. I have intentionally dumbed myself down. Uh, Now I'm required to learn it, but I'm only going to learn it in a small, limited fashion in certain areas. If I would have kept going on the trajectory I was on, I would have gotten with every new piece of technology. I would have been one of the founding subscribers to ChatGPT as soon as it came out, and every other one, because my job would have been technology. My job is not technology. My job is to know how technology works enough to be able to accomplish the goals that I have. I don't need to go and learn how to code because I'm not going to code. I will find somebody else that loves coding because I'm not going to code. An Galaxy S8. Oh, that's not bad. I mean, I was using as far back as like an iPhone 10 or 11. No, I put my phone on do not disturb. Now it only rings if the numbers are saved. You know what? I have the same problem, Mitch. I have the same problem. I don't. If you send me a text message, I won't see it unless I go look for them. I don't get the dings for the text messages. I can't seem to get them. Every once in a while, one will make it through just because it gets confused, but it doesn't give me text messages. And unless you are in my address book, yeah, it doesn't come through. That's why, like, if I want to make sure I get your call, I got to put your number in my phone book. Otherwise, I won't get it. I can put it in the comments until after the video ends, right? You can no. The comments is long term. Chat is short term. So this right here that we're talking, that's chat. So if you look down where the there should be you're using your mobile. So basically the chat window, you if you swipe right, if you swipe left, it takes you to the actual chat. If you swipe left, it takes you to the video, the video comments. So a comment is something that everybody leaves at the end of a video. A chat only shows up here on the screen, and only the people here in the chat get to see it. So when the live replay comes, they don't get to see it unless I turn on the chat live replay function, which I have to do it through the desktop version because they're very limited on what you can do on the mobile version, which really sucks. But it will allow me to do some other things too. But T-Mobile forced me to upgrade to iPhone 12. T-Mobile promised me one price, and then they became like AT&T. I mean, AT&T said, "Oh yeah, $100 a month for two phones, including the monthly fee and everything else like that. Not a problem." Okay, perfect. I'll do it. $200, $200, 200. It's like, no. You told me $100. They kept either they were double billing me or they lied about billing. And there's nothing you can do when you're a business because you have to pay for it. You need it. It's not like, oh, I'll just go without my cell phone for a couple of days. People know how to contact me other ways. No, that's your business. That's your lifeline. Remember when you had to type in the whole number? Now it's just click it. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. It doesn't. For me, I can't see either direction. I'll just text it to you. Okay, I'll put it in the comments. And yeah, I'll put it in the comments for you. Just text it to me. T-Mobile is costing me too much. I'm going to Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile. Well, it depends how much data you use. Do you stay local or do you travel? Because if you stay local, I would go with something like Cricket or Metro, or in San Francisco we call them Getro PCS, and then everywhere else it was Cricket. But Cricket isn't bad. Cricket's out here. They own the cell towers out here. They've got the infrastructure out here. If it wasn't for the fact that my old man's paying for my phone, I would be on Cricket right now. The Verizon's pissed me off. I never want to do business with Verizon again. They told me 140 for 4 lines, and actually 229. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's unfair trade practices. If you wanted to sue them, you could, because they promised you a price, and then and they didn't give you a disclaimer. All your bills subject to change, and even if they did, they have to explain such a dramatic doubling and tripling of your bill to justify that large amount of an increase. Honestly, it's unfair trade practices is really what it would fall under if you wanted to handle it legally. They did me dirty too. Yeah. When I was up north in Wisconsin, Verizon was the only cell phone reception. Yeah, it depends upon where you're at too. Out here it's Cricket. Florida Verizon is fucking amazing. I struggled in the I struggled in the green canopy is what I did. So let's see here. It'd be okay. It would serve them right if you sue them, Bucknut. I need the unlimited data without throttling. I stream YouTube all day, every day. Yeah, that and that's the thing. You have your needs. It's not you're willing to pay the price as long as they're honest about it. Like, okay, my bill is now double. Explain to me why. I'll pay 160, 180, 200, but why would I want to pay double what you promised me? I went with you because you promised me a better bill than what the other guy had. So therefore I went with you, and therefore you lied to me to get my business. Because it's this is actually how they got Dollar General. And it took a lot of people complaining to the Attorney General in Ohio to get any legal action done on it. But the thing is, the advertised price versus the price that they ring up on the register are two different prices, and that's price gouging. Now there is judicial precedence that all prices are negotiable, but the businesses treat it like a unilateral offer, which apparently, according to an attorney, a unilateral offer is illegal. But yet they do it all day long. Okay. I have all the chat logs where they gave me that price. I went so far as to contact Better Business Bureau isn't going to do anything. Better Business Bureau used to have teeth back when word of mouth was king. But digitally, you can get so big that you can whitewash a disgruntled customer or two. It's the smaller businesses that are affected by that. T-Mobile, they're not going to be affected by that. You actually have to sue them over terms and conditions and a violation of terms and conditions. And at that point in time, that will force them to change. And you'll get a big chunk of money because your lawyer ain't going to do it for free. And you got to find one that's going to do it pro bono, i.e., he's going to take his cut after you get done suing them. And depending, the thing is Donald Trump took out the what was the department? It was for the Department of Consumer Protection, which was created under Obama, by the way. That is solely his creation. I think it was a good idea to satisfy the Occupy Wall Street crowd at the time, but it still wasn't that great. Okay. Was told by the VA that my resource would be to cancel the agreement, but I couldn't get back on my original plan. Yeah, of course. That's that's the thing about forcing you to do things digitally. You can't, like, that's why whenever I buy something, I make sure I talk to an individual. Because I know all those calls are recorded, and all I have to do is complain to a manager and say, look, I'm going to sue you if you don't make this right. You don't want to use the word sue, because as soon as you threaten legal action, they have to give you the attorney's office. They cannot talk to you anymore, at least in a call center environment. So that's one thing. Do not threaten legal action. Call requiring an investigation. Get very blunt about them fixing it, and then if they don't fix it, then ask for the contact information for their legal department, and then you just escalate it there. You know what? It's so good you don't even need to pay a lawyer. If you want me to review your documents, for just to make sure that it's coherent, it says what it needs to say. By law, I'm not a lawyer. I'm all that other stuff, entertainment purposes only. Okay, I have the knowledge, and you guys have heard me tell my stories. It's up to you to decide if you want to pay me. I'll do it for $5. $5 a page. So if you want to, and this is for demand letters and notices and stuff like that. We're talking about the beginning of the legal process. If you really want to do a full-on legal process, you're gonna have to hire a lawyer. But I can help you with the letters by using my knowledge, my experiences, and my background to make sure that you're packing as big a punch as you possibly can. But I charge you $5 a sheet. Excuse me, $5 a leaf. Type 1 if you know what the difference is between a leaf and a sheet. Type 2 if you don't. Tell them you're trying not to go further. No, don't. As someone who's worked at a call center, I'll tell you the second year the rule is as soon as you start hinting or saying legal action, they have to stop the conversation. Okay. Okay. Not to go further. Okay. Shit. Cumberland every summer. Okay. All right, guys. You guys are gonna love me on this one. I kind of went blank. What was the question that I asked? I know what the answer is as well, if I know what the question is. Dude, I hate it when my brain goes blank. See, this is why, like, could you imagine being in the middle of a recording and have to completely start over because you completely lose your whole uh oh, leaf versus page. Okay. So a page is two leaves. A leaf is a side of the piece of paper. So the so I want two leaves means I want one page. Okay. Do you know what a leaf is? Okay, yes. Um yeah, you just had to remind me. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I have the knowledge, I just forget it sometimes. Okay. All right, guys. We have been going for almost an hour and a half. You guys have been keeping me long lately. That's good. I really enjoy it. This is what is the difference between a sheet and a leaf? That's funny. The chat's so delayed. It takes everybody a minute to get in. Okay. But yeah, we've been going for about an hour and a half. I'm going to give a 2-minute warning. Anything you guys want to ask, anything else like that, anything you want to say, drop any links, ask any questions. This is your 2-minute call before we close the bar. The coffee bar, that is. T-Mobile for off-grid is good. Okay, good to know. 3 sheets to the wind and you are a leaf off the ground. Yep. So Tommy said band 71 T-Mobile for off-grid is good. Okay. So whoever has T-Mobile will know what that means. I don't. Night night, guys. Yeah, Sam's over there passed out. So all right, guys. I'm gonna say it's the 650 megahertz band. Okay, good to know. My old man knows communications. That's what he did in the army, and I keep asking him questions, and he's like, "Well, it just works," you know. um, I don't think he even knows what he's doing anymore. It just became so second nature. He stopped thinking about it and forgot about it years ago. All right. Good night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning. Bright and bushy tail, 8 a.m. my time, 11 Eastern.